All right, so this is a suggestion via Patreon. The name of the video is Inside the Titanic Sub Disaster. Let's check it out.
Catastrophic implosion. The unthinkable became all too real this past week as we learned of the fate of undersea explorer Stockton Rush's Titan submersible on its way to the Atlantic grave of the Titanic. The questions, the second guessing, David Pogue tells us, are likely to continue for a long time to come.
Absolutely. I mean, because, like, honestly, everyone just is, for the most part, speculating what actually happened. Guys, so I've known about this, obviously, since it happened. I've been asked a couple of times, what's your opinion on it? Guys, people are disgusting. You have people that we thought were fighting for their lives, but it turns out that they probably, lost their lives probably within the first 30, 45 minutes. Like when the communication basically ceased, that's probably when things were over for them, guys, right? Everyone is online fighting over the amount of, air they have left in the sub, and it's just like, guys, why is everyone so disgusting, right? I'm sure you guys have seen all of the social media posts regarding this thing, guys, right? Everyone is just like, it is a known fact apparently that if you are a billionaire, if you have money enough to spend on a $250,000 ticket, where the actual price of that ticket is going to go a lot of it to other explorative projects, because again, guys, governments are not rushing to research any of the coral reefs that are growing around the Titanic, etc., right? So they need to privately fund these things. There's like, if you want to know more about our planet, we need to privately fund these things, and they use those people money for that, it seems. Guys, but the posts were the most disturbing thing. You guys are making fun of somebody's life, right? Like, it's disgusting, guys. Like, all over my Facebook, just like, all types of jokes. And the jokes I'm not even going to get into, but they're disgusting, guys. All right? But all right, let's see where this takes us.
Last summer, a company called OceanGate invited Sunday Morning to join an expedition to the Titanic. At the time, I was thrilled.
Next time I come out of this doorway, I'll either be a changed man forever or cursing the bad weather.
As the whole world knows now, OceanGate's business was taking adventure seekers on these Titanic dives.
Well, we're sitting on the Titanic. Yeah. We're on the Titanic.
For $250,000 a ticket. On a one-of-a-kind carbon fiber submersible called the Titan.
Carbon fiber is a great material. It's better than titanium. It's better than a lot of other materials.
This
Absolutely
is Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate and the designer of the sub. Last Sunday, as he was piloting the sub to the Titanic, it imploded, killing him and his 4 passengers.
We spent 9 days at sea with Rush last summer, and in wake of the tragic news, we thought you might like to see more of what we saw and hear more of what Stockton Rush said.
Absolutely. Let's go.
The Titan wasn't like any previous deep-sea submersible. There was no dashboard, just a touchscreen computer and a single power button.
Okay, I think we needed probably just a little bit more technology, right? Like, I mean, if you're going to be exploring the depths that deep with pressure at that level, you should probably have invested just a little bit more into this, guys. Absolutely.
We only have one button. That's it.
Yeah, that's not enough, bro.
Wait a minute, I've seen submersibles, and they are banks of controls, like cockpit after cockpit.
Exactly. This is to...
Yeah, but guys, that's for a reason. I mean, you should probably follow whatever the peer review is stating regarding, submarines, specifically ones that are going to be moving at that depth, guys. Don't try to reinvent the wheel in this instance.
Other submersibles, what the iPhone was to the BlackBerry.
But many of its components seemed surprisingly cheap. For views outside the sub, he had installed store-bought security cameras. As for the ceiling lights,
I got these from Camper World.
then there was the steering unit.
We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on! So, it seems like a lot.
All right, guys. So now, obviously that's the meme right now. The controller is the meme. Oh, God, guys. Like, with hearing this, I personally don't think that I would have ventured onto this craft here. People, he jerry-rigged it, guys. Everything seems to not be up to par with what's actually required, guys. Again, if you look at the peer-reviewed submarines, right, and you look at what he's talking about here, this doesn't make any sense, bro. Like, never in your life get on a ship like this.
Out of the way you made this is by taking off-the-shelf parts and sort of MacGyvering them together.
Yeah, pretty much.
Does that not raise anybody's eyebrows in the industry?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm definitely an outlier. There were a lot of rules out there that didn't make engineering sense to me.
Everyone I know keeps asking me the same question. Why would you get on that dangerous sub?
Right.
Well, first of all, Stockton Rush had the credentials. He majored in aerospace engineering at Princeton. He designed and flew his own airplanes. He designed previous submersibles. Second, he was emphatic that the important parts of the Titan were rock solid, like the carbon fiber body for which NASA served as a
Is it
consultant.
one piece?
There's
Was it a one-piece body?
certain things that you want to be buttoned down, and that's the pressure vessel. Once the pressure vessel is, you're certain it's not going to collapse on everybody, everything else can fail. Your thrusters can go, your lights can go, you're still going to be safe.
Third, I was convinced
Everything, bro. Nothing should fail. Nothing can fail. Not in a submarine, bro. Sorry, nothing can fail. Oh, God.
by an expert, P.H. Nargelet, the veteran deep-sea explorer who also perished in the Titan. Over the years, he'd been to the Titanic more than just about anyone.
How many times have you been?
With the last dive, 37 times.
You've been to the Titanic 37 times?
Yes. I was in charge of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sub.
How different is the Titan from those other subs?
Completely different. Most of them, you have a sphere.
Was there never a point when you wondered about the safety of the sub at that depth?
No. 2 or 3 years ago, I have a phone call with Stockton, and he explained to me that he was doing a lot of tests. He showed me the ways they were building the stuff. I say, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem to dive in the sub.
I was also impressed by the sub's 7 redundant systems for returning to the surface.
These are roll weights. We can actually roll this up and those come off. That gains us some buoyancy to come back to the surface. Okay. These triple weights, we call them, are hydraulically driven.
Expedition manager Kyle Bingham.
Underneath this tray hang these bags. We're around 35 pounds. And those hang down there. Typical dive will have 8 of them. We can also use our thrusters. We have enough power to thrust back up. And then under this last fairing here, we have our variable ballast tank or soft ballast. It's an air bladder that we use a big 10,000 PSI air tank that's under the tail to fill that up, fill it with air, and then it helps bring us to the surface.
There were even
I mean, okay, that honestly sounds like a great idea. As long as there were like multiple other ways that they could use to kind of get back to the surface, great. I love the idea of that. But the rest of it,
sandbags that detach automatically after about 16 hours, even if everyone inside had passed out. Their connectors would dissolve in seawater.
So you have a backup of a backup of a backup of a backup of a backup
of a backup.
Correct.
All stations are reporting the dive.
I mean, honestly, that was probably what was used to sell the ticket. Like that very specific thing. I would probably take that risk if I knew that there were multiple like contingency plans to actually, reach the surface if anything was to happen. Guys, right? Okay, I see. I understand. It's super attractive now. It's at least now we know. But the rest of the ship matters, bro. Still. All right.
Well, please stand by.
Finally, the crew seemed to foster a culture of safety. There were checklists, inspections before and after every dive, and a 3 strikes rule.
Okay.
If 3 things seemed out of the ordinary, no matter how minor, they'd cancel the dive. I learned that the hard way on our own dive.
We're in the water. We're floating. Woo!
At this point, divers are supposed to detach the sub from its launch platform.
Right.
So apparently those floats there came off the platform, and that wasn't supposed to happen.
So we're scrubbing?
Yeah, I think that's the consensus up here.
Copy that. I never did see the Titanic, and I wasn't unusual. In OceanGate's first 2 summers of Titanic operations, it spent a total of 50 days floating above the shipwreck site. But because of waves, bad weather, and malfunctions, the Titan actually made it to the Titanic only 12 times. But through it all, Stockton Rush defended his unconventional approach.
I mean, anything when you're trying something outside the box, people inside the box think you're nuts. Same thing when Elon Musk was doing SpaceX. Inside the box, everything's scary.
But as early as
Guys, he's a really good salesman.
2018, there was concern about the Titan's design. A former employee says that when he raised safety concerns, Rush fired him. That same year, a group of submersible engineers urged Rush to seek...
Okay, but he sounds super complicit, though. He's a really good salesman, but he also feels very complicit in the life loss here, guys.
certification of the Titan by a safety agency. Rush declined, saying that regulation would stifle innovation.
At some point, safety just is pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe...
He's not wrong. Again, does regulation stifle an overall innovation? Yeah, it can, because you have to... Oh, God, because regulation, all they're trying to really do is make sure everything is kind of up to task. And by doing that very specific thing, you'll never find something brand new out there. I get it, bro. It makes all the sense. Guys, he's a really good talker, right? I mean, listen, you could sell me a beachfront property in Kansas. Right?
Don't get out of bed. Don't get in your car. Don't do anything.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to take some risk, and it really is a risk-reward question. I said, I think I can do this just as safely by breaking the rules.
So, Captain McLaren, have you spent much time in submarines?
David, my total time under the water, divorced from the outside atmosphere, is a little over 5 3/4 years. No kidding.
Wow.
Fact.
Retired U.S. Navy submarine
Wow.
captain Alfred McLaren is not impressed by OceanGate's innovations.
Okay.
I mean, would you fly in an airplane that somebody excitedly tell you, well, it's going to be a lot cheaper because we found a new way of attaching the wings? Yeah, right.
No, he's right. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I think it just froze. That freeze? Anyway, but he's right. I would absolutely not fly in an airplane if someone said, hey, listen, this is different. Yeah, is it stopping overall innovation? Will we ever get to the point where we're flying in discs like so-called UFOs, right? Or UAPs? No, we're never going to get there. Why? Well, we may. But I just don't want to be the first, passenger on that plane.
3 dissimilar materials: carbon fiber, titanium, and plexiglass for the porthole.
When you have different materials, different molecular structure,
Right.
they have different coefficients of expansion and compression,
Oh,
and then you make repeated cycles in depth.
right.
Of course you're going to work that seal loose. And that's why submarines don't run around with any portholes at all, come to think of it. It's a weak point.
I think there's a great, almost surreal...
I mean, listen, they've already mastered it. Why are you trying to alter it? I think that's basically what he's saying here, guys. Listen, why are you trying to add all these other fancy things? If you want to really do all these things, make it one solid unit, obviously. Get the proper camera. Yeah, you're not personally seeing it. He's selling the selling point of it is that they can physically see it and not be portrayed from the outside of a screen, because then by all definitions, how do you know you're actually there, right? I understand the reasoning behind it, showing it with the plexiglass, but this guy's not wrong. Literally, one singular unit would have definitely held structure a lot longer. Going up and down, imagine the pressures that are being put on the seals. He's right, guys. I like this guy. He's smart.
Real irony here, which is Titanic sank because the captain took it full steam into an ice field at night on a moonless night with very poor visibility, after he had been repeatedly warned by telegram, by Marconigram.
In an interview with Anderson Cooper, filmmaker and veteran Titanic diver James Cameron pointed out a sad parallel. between Stockton Rush and the captain of the Titanic.
The arrogance and the hubris that sent that ship to its doom is exactly the same thing that sent those people in that sub to their
I can
fate.
tell.
The world mourns the loss of Stockton Rush, P.H. Nargeolet, and their 3 passengers, British billionaire Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman.
Already, there's talk of restrictions and regulations and lawsuits. Will the OceanGate disaster mean fewer people going adventuring? Well,
I don't think so.
every year people do die skydiving and scuba diving and climbing Mount Everest. Tragic every time, and yet people still keep coming. Some
Right.
people just have that itch. For them, danger is the point. The risk of dying gives meaning to living. I think Stockton Rush was among them.
I wanted to be sort of the Captain Kirk. I didn't want to be the passenger in the back. And I realized that the ocean is the universe. That's where life is.
Bars. I like that. I mean, I would never do it personally. I mean, here's the thing. Will people stop risking their lives because this happened? No, guys. I can only give you my very specific anecdotal evidence here, guys. I build and I go super hardcore, like rock crawling occasionally. But it's more so, I do more like pretty common, typical, like overlanding and like off-roading, right? More often than I do rock crawling. But I do have a rock crawling rig, right? But I do a lot of things that guys, there was one, maybe like a couple of months ago, I did not know if I was going to make it home that day. Because it was raining, it was muddy. There are obviously no guardrails when you're climbing up a mountain in the vehicle, right? And downhill and almost slipping over the edge to the point where one of my tires were kind of already over the edge. Didn't know if I was going to make it, guys. Right? But I will never stop doing this. This is just I love that, bro. I can't explain it. Gigantic lifted vehicles on like 42-inch tires, bro. Like, it's my thing. I don't know. It's fun. Am I going to stop it? No. I will never stop it, bro. What do you mean? Like overlanding excursions where we're literally in the middle of, bro, the North Georgia mountains with bears, right? Where all you have is literally, I don't know, your firearm, right? And just like, and your truck and a camp. And and like maybe a couple other people with the same overall setups of safety, right, and concern, guys. I mean, come on. I am under no circumstance going to ever stop my super risky behaviors. I know it. I won't. And I know you probably won't if you have any of these odd things. You get what I'm saying here, guys? You won't. But I do, I feel bad for all the people who definitely lost their lives in this situation. The captain of that submarine, I probably would not have gotten on it by just listening to him speak, if that makes any sense. He would have sold it to me. Don't get me wrong. He would have got me, guys. I would have been just, hooked into his speech. He speaks so confidently, but yet not enough safety precautions were put into it. Like, at least in my vehicles that I build, guys, I have roll cages, I have like racing seat belts, so if something happens, my body doesn't move from that seat, guys. You get what I mean? And so like there are a lot of safety precautions that are put in place here, and he seems to have just completely ignored way too many of these safety concerns, guys. And it's absolutely frightening that he did that, and then obviously the repercussions of that is the loss of human life. And the people that are literally just making fun of this online are disgusting, despicable. Okay, there's no eat the rich here, guys. I mean, come on, this is a person. These are sons, these are fathers. You get what I'm saying here? These are uncles, these are cousins, this is family to people, and just completely gloss over the loss of life because they so happen to have money. Like, how is that? Where's the humanity in that, bro? Like, seriously, where's the humanity in that? Again, if they didn't pay that exploration of very specific things in the ocean just won't happen. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly, guys, all right?